Good afternoon everyone, thank you for logging on to our presentation today. My name's Katie Sharp and I work in the International Student Recruitment team here at the University of Surrey. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to the university, a few slides about our location, our key facts and our rankings in the recent league tables. Then I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Professor Phil Powery, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Human Sciences, who will talk to you about our exciting new programme, Liberal Arts and Sciences. If you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the box and we'll address them at the end. So to begin, on campus we have approximately 13,000 students representing 148 different nationalities. So we are particularly multicultural and cosmopolitan here in Guildford. We have approximately 2,500 international students, a mix of undergraduate and graduate students. So our location. We're located in Guildford in the county of Surrey in southeast England, just south of London, as you can see on the map just here. This is a picture of Guildford High Street, recently named the safest county in England by the UK Home Office. We're surrounded by beautiful countryside and also the town centre with a variety of shops, bars, restaurants, etc. We're just 30 minutes to London by train with regular departures from Guildford train station, which is just a 10-minute walk from campus. We're also close to both Gatwick and Heathrow international airports. In terms of our academic structure, we have 4 faculties on campus: Faculty of Business, Economics and Law, the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences, the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences, and the Faculty of Arts and Human Sciences. We're very proud that we've recently been ranked 8th in the UK in the Guardian University Guide 2014. 10 of our subjects featured in the top 10, with tourism, transport and travel number 1 in the UK. We're currently ranked 26th overall in the Times Good University Guide, and we're eagerly awaiting the 2014 rankings, which will come out shortly. So our graduate employment rate is currently 94.8%, and that's the number of students that have graduated in the last 6 months and that have found a job in that time period. Our graduate employment rate has been the best for over a decade and beats universities such as Cambridge, Oxford and Imperial, as you can see from the slide shown now. So a little bit about the application process. Similarly to the Common App, students wishing to study at undergraduate level in the UK apply through a system called UCAS. Students can apply for up to 5 different institutions using the same application form. So unlike in the US, where you submit one separate application to each institution, through UCAS you submit one application which is sent to up to 5 institutions of your choice. You upload several documents to your UCAS application, including an important document which is the personal statement. This should outline your motivations for studying the course, why you think you're a suitable candidate, and also list any extracurricular and sporting activities that you feel add to your application. I've included the key dates at the bottom of the slide there. Applications for 2014 entry onwards open from mid-September, and you need to have applied by the end of June 2014, but we encourage an early application as they're done on a rolling basis. For further information about UCAS, definitely visit the website. There's a wealth of information on there, so that should be your first port of call if you're thinking of studying at Surrey or in the UK as a whole. You can see a photo of some of our accommodation. All international students are guaranteed accommodation throughout their programme, throughout their 3-year programme as well. Some universities will only offer students accommodation for the first year, but here at Surrey we offer you the opportunity to stay on campus for the duration of your programme. 50% of our rooms have ensuite shower and toilet facilities, and the vast majority of accommodation is single accommodation, so you don't need to share, unlike in the US. However, you will share an open plan kitchen dining room with 6 to 8 other housemates. Included in the residence fee is unlimited broadband. You're able to ring other rooms for free. All our residences are non-smoking and include contents insurance. As a general guideline, living costs are approximately £800 per month, including your accommodation here at Surrey. There's an icon here showing living costs per week, with accommodation approximately £112 per week. Okay, Surrey's very proud of its sports park, which is located just a 10-minute walk away from campus. We've recently renovated the sports facilities and invested £36 million. So we have a 50-metre, 8-lane swimming pool, 120 station health and fitness centre, a climbing wall, halls where you can play badminton, basketball, volleyball for example, squash courts, and a 350-seat Starbucks. So to end my part of the presentation, I just thought I'd show you a few photos of the sports park. So this is the gym just here, and our climbing wall with Starbucks in the background, and our swimming pool, and then this last slide just shows the campus as a whole and some of our accommodation facilities. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Professor Phil Powery, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Human Sciences and also Programme Director for our new Liberal Arts and Sciences programme. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name's Phil Powery. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Human Sciences. Originally I was a modern linguist. I went to cinema studies and I'm currently called a Professor of Cinema Studies. I'm an Executive Dean, so I don't normally teach, which is one of the reasons why I'm so keen on the Liberal Arts and Sciences programme, which I've designed and masterminded, and which I will be directing with another of my colleagues in the faculty as from September-October of next year. The teaching team in general will include senior leaders of the university, and I've currently been discussing their participation in the programme. The reason for this is that we want it to be a high-quality student experience. One of the reasons that I think it's important to have the senior team there is to show the commitment of the senior team of the university to a high-level programme for very able students. The second reason for this kind of participation is that we are all very keen on working with small groups of students, particularly when it comes to the compulsory modules. I'll explain in a little while how the degree is structured, but basically there are going to be a set of compulsory modules and pathways within which you can choose a number of modules. A liberal arts and science degree is a relatively recent phenomenon in this country and indeed in Europe. There are only a very few universities that have started putting liberal arts and sciences or variants of this kind of programme on their books. So you would be amongst the first students in the UK to be studying these kinds of programmes. What are they exactly? They're interdisciplinary, in the sense that they aim to cut across the various disciplines and to allow you to connect thinking and knowledge across various disciplinary boundaries. Now, you can't obviously be a specialist in every single discipline, so what we try and do is to give you knowledge in context, by which I mean you would necessarily be working in a particular area for which you are qualified, but in addition to that, what you would be doing is engaging with a number of other disciplines, indeed the disciplines that are taught throughout the whole of the university, because this particular programme is a pan-university degree involving all 4 of the faculties, as I'll explain in a little while. The other point to make about this kind of programme is that it's research intensive. We ask very high grades for it because we want students who are very able and who are able to work with us on their analytical, synthetic and problem-solving skill sets, which we believe will help you, if you join us, in the world of work, which will be very varied as we go forwards. It's very unlikely, for example, that when you graduate you'll go into a job for life. You'll probably end up in working in lots of different jobs, and we think that a liberal arts and sciences degree gives you the opportunity to cover a range of disciplines and to understand how they work, but more particularly in their professional contexts. A point I think that I should make, specifically if you're an American listening in, is that the liberal arts and science degree as it's practiced and designed in the UK isn't quite the same thing as it is in the USA, by which I mean that in the USA it tends to be a very, very flexible programme where you can choose more or less anything that you like, whereas in the UK what's been developed is rather more structured. One of the key points to make about this new degree is, and it's why you should study it in Surrey, is the professional training year, which is the key to Surrey's success. As Katie said earlier on, we have over 94% graduate employment rate. It's a 4-year programme where a professional placement is in your 3rd year. It's compulsory in your 3rd year. It's very embedded into the degree. We don't simply send you out there and expect you to, as it were, struggle in the world of work. Quite the contrary, this is very, very much integrated. It has been for a very long time in Surrey, where around about 60% of the university's students do a professional training year in a professional context. Second point to make, of course, is that liberal arts and science degrees, even though they may be slightly different from the way that they're taught in the US, nonetheless are relatively similar in a lot of respects because they're interdisciplinary. And you may know already that liberal arts and science degrees are recommended by 74% of American CEOs. How is the degree structured? As you can see from the slide, we see Year 1 as foundational, Year 2 is articulated around professional practice, and Year 3, the professional placement, which isn't on the slide, is followed by Year 4, where you reflect on what you've learnt during the course. That's the principle behind it. So the compulsory modules, which are the ones that are on this slide, form about 1/3 of the degree. In Year 1, the foundational year, you do 4 compulsory modules. That's the way it's being structured at the moment, although, as I'll say later, I am in the process of designing this degree, and I may well decide that we need to change some of the way that the compulsory modules are functioning. But broadly speaking, what we're trying to do in the first year is to introduce you to a range of very generic issues, such as what do we know and how do we know? In other words, how does knowledge work in general within our societies? The second compulsory module, how do we research the social world, would be taught by my Department of Sociology, and is very much about how you analyse social systems. The third module, how do we solve problems across disciplines, as it's notional title indicates, is very much about the problems of interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity is obviously a buzzword and has been for many years. The world's problems are unlikely to be solved by a single discipline. You need a broad skill set, a broad range of knowledge to be able to solve the world's problems. And this is partly what we try and understand in this specific module. Then in all 2 years, year 1 and year 2, you'll see that there's something called faculty attachment. And at the moment, the way that we've decided to get you to engage with interdisciplinarity more generally is to attach you, hence the name of this module, faculty attachment, to attach you in a kind of spirit of research to the other 3 faculties. So let's say you were located by virtue of your main discipline in my faculty, Arts and Human Sciences, you would have an opportunity to spend time following courses in the other 3 faculties and trying to understand how their specific knowledge bases and knowledge systems work. In year 2, we call it the practice year, we are in a sense preparing you for your professional placement. So in the compulsory modules, what we'll be doing is engaging with you in the nature of the professions and how one researches professional practice. This is pretty key, if you think about it, when you're going to go off into the world of work subsequently, because we're giving you the tools to understand more or less in depth how a particular profession might work. So you would spend the year or the whole year in one particular placement. It could be 2 placements in 2 separate halves of the year, but the idea is to give you the experience of working with industry or in a company and understanding how they function, and we prepare you for that in year 2. We prepare you secondly by giving you a brief spell in a professional environment as a kind of pilot for what you'll do in year 3, and then of course the 2 faculty attachments that you can see. When you've come back after your professional training year, which of course we assess and it'll count towards your final degree, you will then reflect upon the course as you've experienced it. So you will need to work up with your teachers, the professional training year report, the faculty attachments report, and a final overarching report where we're asking you to think about what you've gained from working across a variety of disciplines. The other part of the programme, i.e. the non-compulsory part, is made up of 7 programme pathways. At the moment, if you've looked on our website, you would choose one of these, and I'm thinking that we ought to extend that, but at the moment you would choose one of these. So if we work down the bullet points, as you might imagine, the first 2, People, Minds and Society, Arts, Culture and Creativity, are very much my faculty, the Arts and Human Sciences. Business and Finance and Business and People, the Faculty of Business, Economics and Law. Public Health and Medicine is the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. At the moment they're offering one pathway, but they are likely to offer a second one within a year or 2. Then the final 2, Environment and Sustainability and Energy, again as you might imagine, is the Faculty of Engineering and Physical Sciences. Now depending upon which of the pathways you choose, you would either get a BA Hons Liberal Arts and Sciences or a BSc Hons Liberal Arts and Sciences. The entry requirements are quite high for the sector, AAA or AAB at A-level if you're working within the UK system, 37 or more of course if you're working at the International Baccalaureate degree. USA, you can see there more or less the different types of requirements depending upon what your school or college is doing with you. Clearly, if you're going to work in very specific disciplines, you would need top grades in the relevant subjects. So let's say, for example, you wanted to work in the Faculty of Business, Economics and Law, where you would end up doing an economics pathway, you would need to have a top grade in maths. That's an example. We would work with you in a selection interview so that you and we could understand what is the best fit for you in terms of the programme pathway. I've recently been working on the kind of the pattern, if you like, of the selection interview, which obviously we'd rather do face-to-face, but if you're far away from us, we will do by Skype. And it's very similar to the personal statement for the UCAS form that Katie mentioned earlier on, in the sense that we would be asking you about your motivation. We would be asking you about your passions. What really interests you? What reading have you done around the things that interest you? What would you like to do in the future and why? How would you like to change the world? All of this and more we can explore in the interview. You may have questions that you want to ask, more detailed questions, either in the chat room here on College Live, or if you're really interested in this particular programme, then Simon Usherwood, my Associate Dean for Learning and Teaching, and myself, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Human Sciences, both of us would be very happy to answer questions that you might wish to send us by email, and you can see our email addresses on the slide. The final URL is the URL that you need to put into your browser if you want to go to the Liberal Arts and Science pages, the web pages of the University of Surrey here in Guildford. Thank you for listening to me, and we welcome your questions. Bye-bye.